So, starting out today, I just want to take you back to my 20s for a second because that was when I was going through all basically the roller coaster ride of all my immune stuff, the adrenal fatigue, chronic exhaustion, all the things that at the time didn't seem to make a connection. But somewhere in the middle of it, I had a hormone panel done. And then the funny thing is everything kind of came back within normal range. And but it was on the low end of normal, right? And so here's what I didn't understand at the time and wish someone had told me that normal doesn't actually mean optimal. And so my results, they were technically fine, but they were sitting on that very low end of what was considered okay. And because I was chasing down so many other health issues, I didn't do anything about it. I moved on, kind of forgot about it. And it wasn't until much later, after I had spent many years managing that fatigue, sleeping 2/3 of the day, of the 24 hours of the day, and brain fog, and just really not feeling like myself at all, that another doctor looked into all of these same labs and basically came back to me and said, half of your symptoms were probably early signs of your testosterone decline and your progesterone decline. And so that moment kind of stopped me in my tracks and left me feeling like, you mean I could have been advocating for myself this whole time, or just a lot sooner? And so I could have had better support. And maybe, I could have felt better sooner. And of course, hindsight is 2020, right? And so if you're sitting on lab results right now, or just thinking about getting some and wondering, like, what do I do with this? Am I overthinking it? Am I too late? I want to just tell you right now, you are not too late. You are right on time. This isn't about regrets. It's about getting answers and then having clarity about those answers. And it's also about recognizing, like, what your body's trying to say to you. It's always speaking. And now when you can understand what it's trying to say, you can take that and listen and then respond. And today that we're going to go ahead and walk through what your hormone labs might be telling you and how to turn that information into a plan. Something that's for you specifically, and whether, hormone replacement therapy, whether you can do it or you're considering it, or you're not even considering anything right now, but you just need peace of mind. So before we get into how to read your hormone lab results, though, let me just start with this, because this is something, again, I wish someone had said to me, is if you've never had a hormone panel done, do it now. Even if you feel great, this is really important, because even if everything seems fine, even if you don't think you need any information yet, I truly believe every woman deserves to know her numbers before the symptoms start showing up. And I believe, kind of, when I had that hormone panel done in my 20s, that's why I ignored everything, because I was so far from traditional years of perimenopause and menopause that I just dismissed it. And thankfully, I had stumbled into having a panel done, and I wasn't even thinking, because I was chasing down all those autoimmune issues and chronic fatigue. But here's what's really cool is the specialist I was working with, they just ran it to run all the bases, and I'm so grateful that she did. And all the results, like I said, came back within normal limits. But here's what I didn't understand then. And again, I wish someone had told me, was the range for normal, it's not based on thriving women. It's based on the average of everyone who's been tested, including a lot of people who are already in that stage of struggle. And so the low end of normal really truly can be the beginning of things being really terrible, right? And just not feeling normal at all. And even though I didn't do anything about those numbers back then, looking back now, I realized that that panel gave me a baseline, and it became the point of reference for where my body had been before all the things shifted too differently. And it allowed me to be able to do a couple of things. This data, this baseline, it helps you to figure out, like, how quickly hormones are changing, when support is actually needed, and then whether your lifestyle changes or your supplements or whatever it is you're trying to do naturally, whether they're helping or not. And so what I love about about hormones. I get geeky about health, right? But what I love about them is they're so personal because no two hormonal stories are the same. It's just like a birth story, right? Everyone's experience is completely different and totally valid. So your baseline, this lets you honor your journey so that you don't have to compare yourself to someone else or the average, right? You're able to kind of dial in and know exactly what's happening for you. So, all right, let's go ahead and pick up where we left off last week because I left out a few details. And I didn't mean to, but I did. And so we walked through some of the big three of the hormones, right? Testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen, and how they impact everything from your mood and your energy, your sleep, your sense of self, right? And so now if you missed last week's episode, go back, catch the replay on YouTube or on a podcast. But honestly, if you want to go deeper on hormones and those, especially those three, follow Dr. Marie Claire. Grab her book. It's really, really extensive. Her system list was, it actually gave me more aha moments reading through it than I had anticipated because being a health coach, I'm always got my tabs on things, keeping up with new research. And so she was able to connect a lot of dots in a way that really helped me understand how everything connected and what my body was trying to say, right? It was like having an interpreter. But here's the thing. So last week, I didn't really give thyroid and cortisol hormones the attention that they deserve here in midlife. So many women, these are hormones flying under the radar, but causing a lot of big issues. So I do want to talk about the thyroid first. The thyroid controls like your metabolism, your energy, your temperature, hair, mood, you name it. It controls so many things. And so when it feels off balance, depending on hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, you might experience weight gain or loss, right? Without changing any habits. You could feel cold all the time or hot all the time. Your thoughts feel slow, maybe foggy, and your hair may start thinning and falling out. Your nails might get brittle. And so it's kind of like this dimmer switch for your whole body system. And while there's no single trigger for thyroid imbalance, it often gets affected by stress, inflammation, nutrient depletion, or your body just trying to overcompensate for other hormonal shifts. So let's talk about cortisol for a second. Cortisol is your stress hormone. And when it works really well, it's the thing that helps you overcome stress, keep calm under pressure, bounce back from tension or hard times, right? But when it's high for too long, it starts pulling from your body's resources and it causes an imbalance. And so if you were ever under chronic stress in your younger years, and let's be honest, that's most of us, right? Cortisol could have started the hormonal unraveling long before you realized anything that was happening. And so when cortisol is out of balance, you might experience things like feeling wired but tired, sleep disruptions, mood swings, feeling emotionally flat, even weight gain around your midsection. And I think also it can make you feel like you're kind of stuck in that survival mode. Even on days that are kind of calm and there's not much going on, you feel like you have to keep the system going. And so if you've ever thought like, I don't know what's wrong, but I just don't feel right, cortisol is really a great place to start looking. All right, so now that we've got the big picture and I filled in the blanks that I left out last week, let's go ahead and talk about what to do once you have your lab results. This is a moment where most women, they either feel confused or completely dismissed. And you get your blood work back, and your provider might be saying, like, this looks normal, everything's okay, nothing to worry about. But you're thinking, like, totally, if this is normal, then why do I feel like I'm being hit by a truck every single morning, right? You're exhausted, your brain feels foggy, your energy, it's dragging, but you're told it's just stress or age or just a part of life. And that's really frustrating because you know something's wrong. So this is where I want to take you to a place where you get your power back, right? Because when you understand what you're looking at, you can stop feeling dismissed, and those numbers stop feeling like a dead end, and you can start having like direction and make a plan. So let's go ahead and go through a few simple ways to start making sense of your results. One of them is to actually, most providers post your results online somewhere. And so go ahead and print these out. When you do that, you're able to kind of look at things from a bird's eye view and look down on it. And often it's printed in a way where they show you where you're plotted on the normal range, right? And so you can look at that, and I want you to highlight those areas where you're close to the low or close to the high ends of that normal, because these numbers really matter. And especially if you're kind of on the edge, you're not towards the center of that normal. And so if you're having a hard time doing this part, go ahead and contact me. I can help you with this. I do have HIPAA certification, so I'm able to help you with that. But I want to remind you, I am not a hormone specialist, but I can help you prepare for talking with your doctor. Then what I want you to do is pair them with your symptoms. You know, we talked through a couple of symptoms last week. I also included a small short list in your workbook from last week. But better yet, like I said, follow Dr. Marie Claire, look at her book and look at those symptoms, because that's a pretty exhaustive list. But if you're seeing low testosterone and you're feeling unmotivated, or low progesterone and waking up in the middle of the night, like I said, frozen shoulder for me was an unexpected symptom that was telling me that progesterone was low, right? And so these are dots that you can connect when you're able to have a list and start matching them with the hormone that might be causing it. And so it kind of helps you create a map, right, of what's going on. And then what I also want you to do is look at what might be missing from the panel you had done. You know, sometimes thyroid and cortisol, those free hormone levels, aren't tested all the time. And so they don't often go deep enough. And so you may need a more detailed labs done. So if it's been a while, go ahead and schedule yourself for a refresher. Now that I have my baseline, I actually have my hormone panels done every 3 months, just so that I can keep tabs of what I'm doing lifestyle wise and what I'm doing supplement wise and how it is improving or not helping. And so I know that that's not for everybody, but I'm really a big advocate of doing everything as natural as possible. Okay, so, and then what I also want you to do is, if you have not scheduled your labs yet, pay attention to the timing of your monthly cycle. Hormones shift throughout that cycle period. And so testing at the wrong time can kind of give you a little bit of a murky answer. So for most women, days 19 through 21 are going to be ideal for seeing progesterone, and also like general hormone balance. Other hormones, though, it's more ideal to see other numbers. So if you don't have those big three tested yet, I'd aim for that days 19 to 21 to go get them tested first. And then you can talk to your provider about like when you should schedule your labs to get the rest of the work done. Because, and you don't have to like remember what I'm telling you, which days, just ask when you call in to book it. I find most hormone providers are very kind and sweet to help you out, because this is a scary place for a lot of women. Okay, so now that we've kind of gotten our labs done and we've looked at our labs, and we have like this new perspective, it's time to kind of zoom out just a little bit. And I want to remind you, you don't need all the answers right now. You just need to kind of get curious about one or two of your symptoms, connect them with what you're seeing, and then start through what your body is asking for, right? Not just what that chart is telling you is normal. And this is also a great time to be talking to your provider. But it's never really good, as a health coach, this is coming from my health coach side, it's never really good to try to attack every problem at once, because then you don't know what thread pulled piece and what's going on. And so we're not trying to fix it all at once. We're just trying to start noticing little patterns and work on that one thing. And that's exactly what we're going to start doing next week. So don't worry if you're still trying to figure this all out. But here's what I want you to take away from today. Your lab results aren't just numbers on a page, right? They're clues. And so I know one of my favorite TV shows is watching these like cop shows and forensic scientists and things like that. And so these are little clues. These are pieces of your story, of your body, and of what it's trying to tell you, and what it's probably been trying to tell you for a while now. And so today you're going to start listening. And so whether you're considering hormone replacement therapy or holding it off for now, or your doctor told you you can't do it, your labs are going to help either validate or just clarify or clear up some confusion. And so it's all about part of figuring out what your body needs next. And so next week, we're going to be going a little bit more practical, and I'll be walking you through like those real lifestyle shifts, because there are some major things that you can start doing to support your hormones. Nothing overwhelming really, but things that truly you have to be willing to do the work to get the results. But there's simple changes that work with your body, support your body, nourish your body, that make that difference. So between now and then, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go download the workbook in the Facebook group if you haven't already. And then I want you to look at your labs. Pick one or two numbers that feel like they stood out to you as abnormal. And then I want you to write down your top symptoms. Okay, whatever's been bothering you lately. Like I said, I had no idea that frozen shoulder was leading to telling me about progesterone. So just write down all of your symptoms. They may not be related to hormones, but just write them down. Just brain dump them. Okay. And then that's it. Because we're not fixing everything in one day, we're just paying attention. So, right now, your list of symptoms, that right there is going to be what you're going to start paying attention to. And maybe even just see where you're at in your cycle. What day are you on? So that you can kind of later match these symptoms happen at this phase of my cycle. Um, and so if you'd like help looking at your labs or figuring out what questions to ask your doctor, I've opened up a few sessions to support you guys through this. Again, I'm HIPAA certified. So your conversation is going to be private. But again, I'm not a hormone specialist, but I'm here to help you prep and feel confident when you go in and talk to your provider. So every woman needs to feel that support and someone in their corner. And I want to thank you for being here today and letting me be that for you today. I'm really proud of all of you guys, and I can't wait to see you next week. But